Hey folks, I hope everyone had a great weekend. I wanted to share what games I was playing last week and just some rough thoughts on them. First off is Heroes of Hammerwatch 2. This is think of it like a roguelike role-playing game. It's co-op, but I haven't had a chance to try it out in that yet. There are a number of, you kind of go off on these, you pick your class and then you go off on a number of runs that go through the same stages in the same locations. So Forest 1, Forest 2, Forest 3. It's kind of like Diablo, where you would delve deeper into a number of different procedurally generated locations. And then within each of those locations, you would collect resources that you level up. And then you can take that back to your town and level up your town. The resources that you collect, like wood and iron, that sort of thing, you then use those to unlock different or new buildings in your town, which give you access to new functionality, new upgrades. For example, picking a new type of food every time you do a run. It's interesting. I actually always wanted Tristram to feel like that in Diablo 3, where it actually would have felt more like something you were growing over time as opposed to a static location, and something that you felt like you could come back to and level up and grow, more like it was something connected to your progression as opposed to just a static location. Unfortunately, we never had the resources to accomplish this. Then we ended up with the crafters, and at least they had some amount of progression, which unfortunately got completely neutered in the expansions. The downside that I found thus far is it is extremely grindy. Runs can take you a long time. For example, you can go on a run and it can be at least 30 minutes, which for a session length, that can just feel like it takes forever, and it feels like a big commitment. I probably would have approached it a lot more like the Greater Rifts or the Rifts that we put into Diablo, where the duration of those runs felt more like around the 15-minute mark. So it felt like you were able to go in, accomplish something, come back out on a more regular cadence, as opposed to sitting down and spending, like an hour playing a run and not feeling like you can return to town at any point in time. That's the other thing, is I might be missing something here, but the only way that I found to return to town or abandon a run and retain the resource is to die, which feels very strange to me. It really feels like I should have the ability to town portal back to town at any point in time. With death comes the penalty of losing some amount of the resources that you collected. I feel like I'm probably missing something there. If you play Heroes of Hammerwatch 2 and I am missing something, please let me know, because I'd love to figure that one out. Thus far, I put like 40 hours into the game though. So to be fair, all those complaints, take that with a grain of salt, because I am quite enjoying it. The other game that I played through for the first time, actually, I've never played this game before, was Stanley Parable, the Ultimate Deluxe Edition. I'm exploring the idea of what it means to be a role-playing game. And although Stanley Parable is on the edge of being a role-playing game, it probably is the game which captures the feeling of having a dungeon master incredibly well, especially a dungeon master that you can annoy, which is really fun to do in some ways. The narrative, of course, actually ends up being quite linear, but that feeling of being able to interact with the narrator is quite compelling. If you haven't tried it, I recommend it hesitantly. It isn't really a long game. It feels more like an art piece. So if you're tight on budget, if you don't have a lot of financial freedom right now, I wouldn't recommend purchasing it, because it doesn't have a lot of legs. The other one is Outer Wilds. I went back to that. I've tried playing this in the past, and candidly, I just can't get into it. I feel like I should. I feel like it's a game that everyone raves about again and again and again, but it's just not something that I find grips me. I've put many hours into it trying to accomplish it. But the feeling of I'm trying to figure out why I don't enjoy it. I think it feels like the repeatedness of it isn't as interesting as in other roguelikes like Dead Cells. I understand that I'm trying to unlock and uncover the mysteries of the universe, but it does feel like there isn't much of a honest challenge there. It just feels like I'm going through the motions. Again, I feel like I'm missing something. So if you know, if there's a way that you can, I don't know, like let me know like how you enjoyed it or why you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, or if you felt the same way, let me know. I'd love to hear what your perspectives were on that game. The last one that I'm playing is this game called Jotun Slayer, Hell of Heroes or Heroes of Hell. It's a bullet heaven game. I can't really recommend it. It's fine. The reason why I continually come back to bullet heaven games, especially ones that approach or try and do something different, is I have this thesis that bullet heavens are potentially the future of action role-playing games. There's a lot of overcomplication in action role-playing games today with all the narrative and all the story, whereas their origin point was very simple. It was go into this dungeon, kill creatures, collect loot, get better. My thesis is that bullet heavens like Vampire Survivors or what's the other one? Like this Jotun Slayer game, they capture that feeling of just simple progression. There's some other ones out there. The names, my memory is terrible. The names like elude me right now. I'll probably link them in the comment section below or in the description for you to try, that are decent bullet heaven games that feel like they actually add to the genre as opposed to just more clones, which that genre doesn't need, but they do feel like they have promise and that they show a little bit of what I'm talking about here. Haven't been reading much, mostly been watching telly with my wife and spending time with my kids, a little bit of Helldivers here and there. So just enjoying my time with the family. Oh, and it snowed this weekend, so there was a lot of shoveling. My body's a wreck. I hope everyone has a great week. I hope everyone has a chance to check out the videos that I'll be posting every day this week. I have a list. But if you have questions or topics that you would like me to cover either this week or next or anytime in the future, please do feel free to add them to the comments below. Take care, and I'll talk to you again soon.